What up, guys? Your boy Quake back with a brand new episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast, number 345. And that's an awfully hot coffee pot. Shout out to Eminem, man. He got challenged by Rock the Bells to find words that rhyme with silver. Apparently, Uberfax tweeted out that there are no words in the dictionary that rhyme with silver. Rock the Bells tagged Eminem. By the way, Rock the Bells is owned by LL Cool J. Whoever social media tagged Eminem said you got 24 hours to respond. Eminem responded. So, yeah, that's an awfully hot coffee pot. Shout out to Eminem, man. It's funny. He needs to be more social media active because, I mean, that just made headlines all over. I mean, we posted about it, but I'm not going to talk about it on the podcast here besides this moment. But, yeah, shout out to everybody that's supporting the Hot Rod interview, watching every clip, joining the memberships, joining the Patreon to check it out. The feedback has been very good. There's been some people that complain about Hot Rod kind of taking a little while to tell a story because sometimes he'll get sidetracked with something else. But other than that, I mean, people are laughing their asses off. He's funny as fuck. I was laughing in the interview. I had to actually, you can hear myself in the background a little bit, but I had to take my laughing out a lot of the time. I had to mute my own voice because when I edit these long interviews, there's his side of audio and my side of audio. So if I'm talking over him or I say yeah, okay. I kind of mute that part of it so it's not in the clip distracting. So when people are like, why are you editing an interview? It's supposed to be uncut. That's the type of editing you have to do is where, you still got to go over the footage and see, if the audio is good, if the visuals are good still and all that stuff. But yeah, the feedback's been great. We are on part 11. It is a very long interview. It's 4 hours long. So I don't know, man. It depends on how long some of the parts will be, but we're probably going to be at 30 parts here. And what's crazy is I'm not doing it like Vlad. Vlad literally drops 3 to 4 minute clips for the most part. Mine are rarely that short unless it just makes sense to have it that short because of a certain topic. But I've included multiple topics in clipped parts where I could have had 3 parts in once or 3 parts clipped out from one video that I included as one part. But yeah, great feedback on it. If you haven't seen the interviews, go on the main channel, Diverse Mentality, check them out. If you want to, watch them or hear them on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and these other platforms, you can do that by going to Diverse Mentality Interviews. We have the Young Buck one up there. We don't have the Hot Rod one until the Hot Rod one's fully out. Then we'll upload it there. So if you want the Hot Rod one early, sign up for YouTube memberships and Patreon, and you'll get it there. And I have the next interview coming up after the Hot Rod one because I wish I could drop them multiple times at the same time, multiple interviews. That would be great because I could drop 2 videos in a day, every day, which would be nice. But I don't have that many interviews. This is my next one's the only one that I have left in the storage, I guess. If I don't manage to get another interview, because I have to leave for overseas in mid-September, September 8th, and I come back September 17th, something like that. So if I don't have an interview stacked by then I'll have to take the Kid one that I had that was almost 3 hours long and clip that and post it on the channel. So if you've already seen that, it's going to be nothing new to you. But I realized a lot of people were commenting, get Kid on the platform, and I already did. It was posted on the podcast side of things, so I'm going to bring it to the main channel. And then I got the Shaw Money interview, which I might drop. It's the Give It Try Trying one. I never dropped the full of that, so I might do that one. But I'll have to record over when I talk because I didn't have a mic on me when I was asking him questions. You don't hear me, asking the questions at all, and that's a problem. So that I'm gonna have to go over and look and see. And then I got, obviously from the Give It Try Trying, I have 7 or 8 interviews, but some of the people there aren't known name wise, so it doesn't really do much justice to release interviews of them. So yeah, I'm going to be working. I'm going to see what kind of interviews I can get done. And yeah, I'll keep you guys posted on that. But let's get into the news. And majority of this podcast is going to be spent on the Drake UMG lawsuit updates. I haven't gone over that. I did briefly a little bit before I started recording this episode because, I've been focused on these interviews and getting this other stuff, these documentaries ready to go as well. Ironically funny, speaking of documentaries, Rick Ross. So when I did the Hot Rod interview, the first clip when we posted on social media, Rick Ross, yes, the rapper, William Roberts, decided to troll in the comments of that post. He ended up liking the video, which is kind of funny. And then he ended up writing "ha," like just laughing at the video. And it's the clip of Hot Rod talking about how 50 Cent called him at work and told him to quit his job and come, record for him and work for him. It was random. I wasn't expecting Rick Ross to comment on something like that. It just makes no sense. But when you think about it, there's a reason why Rick Ross is trolling 50. Anything relating to 50 trolls. And two, and this could be on the good side of things, Rick Ross is somebody who does appreciate someone who changes other people's lives. He's spewed that. He's talked about that in various interviews and stuff like that. He is that type of person that really likes that hustler thing and, likes to help people and this type of stuff or motivate people. So I guess him watching that and seeing that maybe gave him a different perspective on 50 and how much of a boss he is that he can just call somebody randomly and tell them to quit their job and they'll come work for him. I don't know. But regardless, he did comment. So I decided to respond, and I responded on my Instagram stories, and I revealed, which I was going to reveal to you guys. I did reveal it on Patreon early because I had this originally planned to be released in June. But then I had a different idea, and I was like, this is a way better idea than just releasing a normal documentary that I normally do, in June. So this documentary is going to be Rick Ross versus Rick Ross. Yes, the real Rick Ross, and it's going to be talking about the rapper, the fake one. And I'm going to be breaking down, how his identity, how the real Rick Ross's identity got stolen, and just the timeline trajectory of the lawsuit where the real Rick Ross tried to sue the fake one and how that went, wrong. And I'm actually involving the real Rick Ross in this documentary. I will be traveling to talk to him in person. We just got to figure out a time, and that's another thing. I might have Rick Ross as an interview on the channel as well, just like a regular interview, and then that portion I'll feature in the documentary, or I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'll figure it out, but when I had the idea to do this documentary, which has been for over a year now, but once my dad got sick, I kind of just couldn't really focus on it like that. A lot of documentaries I just kind of put to the side. And then in March, when I released the Drake versus Kendrick, I was thinking of, working on this one. I was like, this is the one I want to do next. I started a little bit working on it, but then, and as I started working on it, I think I announced it on Patreon, and I was like, hey, this is coming in June. I'm getting ready to release this. I'm excited, blah, blah, blah. And then I had an idea of like, let me see if I can actually talk to the real Rick Ross, Freeway Rick Ross, and see if I can get him to be a part of this documentary. So because I ended up in conversations with him, I was like, I'm not going to release the version without him being in it. I want to get him involved. I want to add the pieces surrounding that I'm missing, and then do it like a proper documentary. Like the Give Rich or Die Trying type of documentary. And I am going to reach out to Rick Ross himself. It's not really Rick Ross, it's the rapper, but the rapper. I'm going to reach out to him, see if he wants to be a part of it. I'm going to tell him straight up what it is. And it's not going to be a defamation type of, like, I'm not going to shit on the rapper Rick Ross. I genuinely want to get to like the bottom of how this ended up happening. So I will reach out and I will see. And, if he wants to be a part of it, cool. He lives in Atlanta, or he lives in Georgia at least. And I am more than willing to pull up to his mansion. I will be coming with security, though. I will not pull up by myself because, if something goes left and he gets pissed off, who knows? That's a big-ass mansion. Could easily dig a hole and bury my ass in the backyard, and nobody will ever hear from me again. So I'm not going to go there, solo dolo, or we'll just meet at a ground, a place where, it's safe for both of us, because I will be asking him, like, legitimate questions, and Vlad got beat the fuck up by Rick Ross and his team for mentioning the police stuff. So I don't want to be Vlad. I don't want to be the guy who gets beat up and then, sues for astronomical amount of money. But regardless, I'm getting out of track here. But yeah, that's the plan. That's the next documentary that I want to work on, that I want to release. It's going to take a little bit longer than expected, obviously, with that traveling that I have in September. So if he is in LA, so if I end up going to LA, I'm going to actually accomplish a lot there, because I'm going to be meeting with Vlad, Trap Lil Ross, everybody that's in LA, Bootleg Kev, all these people that's in LA, No Jumper, meeting with all these people, maybe going on their platforms, talking with them, just building my brand, because I don't really do like collaborations and stuff like that and interviews. So building my brand there. So I'm going to be interviewing people in LA that are out there. There's a few people that I've reached out to that want to do interviews, and I just got to go to LA, and it's going to be, if I do that, I'm going to probably have to stay in LA for like a week and just knock out all this stuff in that whole week. So we'll see. We'll see. If I can't get that documentary to kind of start at a certain point, I will work on a different documentary in the meantime while I work on that behind the scenes, because really it's just, I still have research to do on it, but really the main bulk of it will be interviewing Freeway Rick Ross and getting like his side of the story. And he's got like paperwork that he showed me of like just crazy shit. I'm not going to say it because it's kind of going to spoil the documentary, but he showed me some crazy shit which showed, the rapper William Roberts be a correctional officer and all that stuff and all this stuff. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. I didn't want to let people know, but since Rick Ross wanted to troll me in the comments with my Hot Rod interview, I was like, why not just, respond back? And it got great feedback by people. So be on the lookout for that, man. I'm still doing documentaries. Don't think that just because I'm doing these artist interviews that I'm done with doing documentaries. No, I just want to, if I'm going to do these documentaries, they got to be quality. They got to, I want to do style of like Get Rich or Die Trying. Like, get those type of documentaries out. I'm still going to do Who Really Wants and all this other stuff. Just give me some bear with me on that. It's going to take a little bit of adjusting with some stuff on there as well. But all those are coming. Anyways, enough. Let me talk about the news because I know you guys don't want to hear me rambling on. But let's talk about the news. And we're going to start out with Tory Lanez. So Tory Lanez's appeals has been denied. So let's go over the article. Tory Lanez continues to fight for his freedom, but earlier this week, he took another loss. According to Billboard, 2 petitions filed by his legal team were denied by the California Appeals Court. In the petitions, his attorneys challenged his convictions related to the 2020 shooting of Megan The Stallion. He alleged that his due process rights had been violated and that key pieces of evidence had not been made available to defense attorneys, including the gun and bullet fragments found in Meg's foot. In their ruling, the appeals court mentioned a response from prosecutors who claimed the gun was at the Los Angeles Police Department. They also argued that testing it for DNA again wouldn't have made a difference. Petitioner has failed to show that additional DNA testing would establish a claim of actual innocence, they wrote. Both parties' experts at trial agreed that the DNA testing of the magazine showed none of the petitioner's DNA was present, and as to the gun itself, the inconclusive findings could neither exclude nor include petitioner as a minor contributor to the DNA found on the gun. He's still scheduled to be released he'll be eligible for parole in 2029 and is expected to be released in 2033. Crazy, man. Tory Lanez's life has like completely changed. It's insane, man. Imagine going from I just can't imagine going from like being this rich celebrity, hanging out, having all this fun, and then just being locked up in a box for all these years. Insane, man. That's got to be like the worst psyche on a like person ever. Anybody getting locked up sucks and it messes with their mental. But like an average person getting locked up that doesn't have much exciting things going on in their life, maybe it's even a benefit for some people because they get free food, they get housing, whatever, that's like a whole different tier of stuff. But for the average person getting locked up, there's not that much of an extreme lifestyle change, right? Now, granted, first off, being free as a human being and just being able to do, go wherever you want, that's a huge, huge deal. And then being boxed up and being ordered to do things, obviously that's an extreme change. So I'm not saying that it's not. But at the level of like a celebrity where you travel the whole world, you got money, you can do whatever you want basically at any moment, to then being confined into a box and having to listen, it's just like, it's a huge extreme. I wish they would do like a psychologist would do like a study on that and see how does it really affect a celebrity's brain when they get out of prison, because some celebrities completely change for the better or for the worse. Gucci Mane's a great example of changing for the better once he got released. But how many examples are there of that? So, yeah, that'd be really cool to check out. Diddy is seeking $100 million. You heard me right, $100 million. Let's go over the article. Diddy is currently in the middle of all kinds of legal drama. Last month, his federal trial came to an end after roughly 2 months. A jury found him not guilty of sex trafficking and racketeering and guilty of transportation for prostitution. He could be handed up to 20 years behind bars as a result. He's scheduled to learn his fate on October 3rd. On top of his criminal case, Diddy is also facing various lawsuits from individuals alleging that he made them victims of sexual assault, abuse, and more. Last October, a man named Courtney Burgess even appeared on News Nation, where he alleged that he had videos of Diddy committing sexual assault. The Bad Boy founder hit him with a $50 million lawsuit earlier this year over the allegations. Now, according to Hip Hop DX, he's amended the lawsuit to include the news network. He's seeking up to $100 million, alleging that the accusations caused him severe reputable harm, which is debatable because there's been a lot of harm in this. In this pitiful spectacle, all pretense of objectivity has been abandoned. As a global audience feast at an all-you-can-eat buffet of wild lies and conspiracy theories, the lawsuit also alleges Michelle Burgess' attorney and Burgess are among the worst how am I messing this? I can't even say this word right now. Perpetrators. I know y'all gonna flame me for this. Perpetrators, whatever. In this offensive scenario. Perpetrators. Why am I? Perpetrators, guys. Perpetrators. I swear, somebody one day is going to clip all these videos of me fucking up these words, and everybody's going to kill me for it. At the time of the writing, Burgess and his attorney have not responded to the lawsuit. News of the amended lawsuit arrives just days after Diddy once again asked the judge to release him, and obviously he got denied. So we'll keep our eyes posted on this. Speaking of someone that's related to Diddy in terms of the Tupac murder, Keefe D. So let's go over what's going on with Keefe D because we haven't gotten much updates as the only guy that's been locked up for Tupac's murder. So Keefe D has hired 2 new attorneys, Robert and Michael, after recently firing his previous lawyer, Carl. New representation is expected to speak on the case at a press conference on Tuesday, for which they promised a new and substantive. Why am I messing up these words tonight, man? New and substantive announcements, according to VE Media. Keefe D will be standing trial in February 2026 after being accused of organizing the murder of the legendary rapper Tupac. Authorities originally arrested him for his alleged involvement in the 1996 killing back in September 2023. While he's pleaded not guilty, he's also been held without bail. So, yeah, he's been locked up for about to be 2 years this September. 2 years he's been locked up. So, trial is in February 2026, so we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't get delayed because with these things, they just often get delayed. But yeah, new lawyers, we'll see what happens if that helps him in any way, shape, or form. Ladies and gentlemen, I think 50 Cent took his first L on the internet. I mean, he's probably taken L's before, but in this whole dispute back and forth, Finesse 2 times cooked 50, like completely with the clap back that just... I mean, I don't know what 50 could say. And 50 kind of, I don't understand why. I get it because he's the cool thing about 50 is he's like a commentator on hip hop without having a podcast, without having, he'll throw in his opinion on his Instagram, right? On some things that's going on. But some things I'm like, why are you commenting on this? Like, it's got nothing to do with you. But let's go over it. Finesse 2 times' family drama continues, and recently 50 Cent hopped online to give him some advice. Earlier this month, the Memphis rapper's mother, Pluria Alexander, launched a GoFundMe campaign asking fans to donate money to her to cover her moving expenses. According to her, her son had been supporting her financially but left her facing eviction and the urgent need to find a new place to live after a recent dispute. Until recently, my son was helping me pay my bills, but after a falling out, I've been left to manage everything on my own, Alexander wrote. This is the 3rd time my son's actions have left me homeless, and each time it becomes harder to recover. While Finesse 2 times and his mother may not be getting along at the moment, 50 Cent believes the 33-year-old performer should at least try to patch things up. This is what 50 wrote. Hey, Finesse, you look just like your mama, man. Just call her. I said, what the fuck do you do when that happens? Nothing. Look at her and say you want some of this money or not. Stay your ass off the phone, ma. Who showed you how to make a video anyway? Finesse 2 times, he tagged him. Please don't say nothing crazy. Finesse then decided to respond, and he did say something crazy to 50. He posted, so Finesse responded and posted on his story. He tagged 50 Cent and says, when you call Marquise, I'll call her. And I was like, damn, because that's facts. 50 can't just, you have to, if somebody's fighting with their mom and stuff, go call her and patch things up, blah, blah, blah. When when somebody tells you that about your son, you don't want to patch things up. So why are you getting involved in situations like that where it's got nothing to do with you? Finesse responded in a scathing way that just shut shit down immediately. I mean, there's nothing that 50 can say to respond to that. He took that L. That's a huge L. I mean, and it's true, man. It's sad. I'm not one to get involved in people's like these are celebrities, but I have a certain extent where, I go when it comes to talking about celebrities and their personal life, because it's no longer, 50 Cent. It's Curtis Jackson that we're talking about, and I don't want to go to that part of things. When it comes to even Finesse, him talking about what his mom and their issues that they got. That's between them. It's unfortunate that it got public and that the public then can speak on it. I believe his mom took it public. She shouldn't have. I know she's struggling financially with a GoFundMe or whatever, but figure out a way to handle personal things behind the scenes. I could never have a falling out with my mom if I was a celebrity in public. I never have a falling out with my mom in public ever. It just, I have too much respect for her. If we don't see eye to eye on something, that happens. You're human, but it's still your mother at the end of the day. There's nobody that will love you unconditionally like your mother if you had a normal childhood growing up. I know some people's mothers were not there, and some people's mothers just didn't care to love them like that. They're abusive, whatever, all this stuff. I mean, prime example, Eminem, right? But still, at the end of the day, that's your mother. Eminem regretted a lot of stuff he said about his mom. He made up with her years later. Yeah, she's the only one that can love you unconditionally. So, I'm not the one to get involved in people's personal stuff, but he did clap back at 50 well and handle the situation well. That response was perfect, and hopefully they can patch things up, Finesse and his mom, because you only got one mom, Finesse, so definitely patch things up like that with her, because it's just not worth it. Continuing on, Lil Wayne, man, he had some illness, and I hope he's doing all right, so let's go over the article. So Lil Wayne canceled his concert in Toronto on Monday night due to an unforeseen illness. Just minutes before Tyga was set to come out as a supporting act at the Budweiser stage, the venue displayed a message alerting fans that the show had been postponed and tickets will be honored at a future date. Due to unforeseen illness, Wayne's Toronto show tonight will be postponed, the message read. As his fans know, he loves putting on nothing short of the best performances for those who come out, and he was so excited for this one. Please stay tuned for a new date coming soon. All previously purchased tickets will be honored for the new date once announced. When Budweiser stage shared the update on Instagram, fans expressed frustration in the comments section. This is what one person said. At showtime, seriously, people traveled hours to get here already. Another added, so it was known in advance that he wouldn't be performing, but you felt comfortable letting people wait during a heat wave and spend money inside a venue where a show wasn't even going to be put on. And then you want to cancel a show, you close any form. And then you want to cancel a show, you close any form of customer service. That ending kind of threw me off. But yeah, this is the Carter 6 tour, basically 20 years of the Carter. Now, they got a good point, the people that purchased the tickets that got there. I would be furious if I went to a concert and I got told the main act wouldn't perform like literally minutes before the supporting act got on stage. Like, that's something that you let people know the morning of the latest, because at least the morning of, people don't have to like go drive and go to that area, go here, go that, and figure out their day around the concert. They can just say, okay, I woke up this morning, sucks that the show was canceled, but at least I know today what my day is going to look like. Now that I have, the afternoon free because I'm not going to the concert. Versus somebody going over there, buying drinks, chilling, waiting, and then like last minute, hey, he can't perform, he's sick. I would be furious. Now, the only time that I purchased a concert ticket and things changed was with the Chris Brown concert. Now, you're probably wondering, Quake, why the fuck did you buy a Chris Brown ticket? One, big booty Latinas everywhere. Two, 50 Cent was set to have to be like a guest headliner, like under Chris Brown's tour, which is kind of, I don't know if it was under, like they're both going to have like co-headlining. You know how like Kendrick and SZA are co-headlining? I think it would be co-headlining because 50's just that big of an artist that wouldn't make sense to not do that. But I bought tickets and 50 ended up leaving, obviously. He never did the tour. And that's the only thing I changed. I went there though and, enjoyed the show. My brother, with his impatient self, decided for us to leave a lot earlier. And I was like, no, I don't want to leave a lot earlier. One, there's big booty Latinas everywhere. Two, I had a feeling because we're in Atlanta, he was going to bring out like a lot of artists. He brought out a few. Who did we have? Usher, T.I. I forget who I saw. But as we left, we literally like Future got out. Like everybody from fucking Atlanta that's ever been Ludacris, whoever's been ever big in Atlanta, Migos, everybody came and performed like right after we left. So I got really pissed off about that because I was like, all right, we already missed 50. At least, let's enjoy the rest of the show. I'm not a big Chris Brown fan. I don't know every Chris Brown song when I was there, but I was just enjoying, like I said, the Big Booty Latinas. And yeah, it was just that's the only concert ticket that I ever had that something changed. And I could have got a refund probably by then, but I just didn't care. I was like, let me just go to the concert. Why not? But yeah, this is the type of shit that pisses me off. But hopefully Lil Wayne is doing all right, man. Lil Wayne's health is obviously most important, but the way some of these things get canceled are really, really frustrating. Thugga, that's my brother. At least that's what Gunna was saying until they started beefing. Let's go over the article. Fans have sensed tension between Gunna and Young Thug for some time. While the rappers have largely kept their supporters in the dark about the status of their friendship thus far, it looks like the YSL founder might be ready to finally face their alleged feud head on. Recently, a Young Thug verse from Lil Baby's upcoming album surfaced online. In it, he is seemingly taking direct shots at his former collaborator. And this is what he said. Only reason I fuck with you, Gunna, it was cause of troop. He raps. This indicates that things between them may never been what they seemed, though this is still unconfirmed. Young Thug doesn't seem to be the only one putting their apparent issues out there either. Earlier this month, Gunna unleashed his final album under YSL, the last one. On the track Prototype, he appears to address a scathing tweet Young Thug posted about him in November and later deleted, which was, Gunna, stop acting like we friends on the internet. I don't know you, my guy. And of course, Gunna responded to that on the project and was like, man, motherfucker had tweeted my name, must have had to be a typo, he said. He said the N-word, but I just said motherfucker. So let's play this snippet of Young Thug dissing Gunna.
Now they treat me for some years, they know you was steady. $100 million nigga, baby, I been in the loop. Only reason I fuck with you, Gunna, ain't was cause of true. Nigga, hey, that's
based off that snippet, it sounds like Dookie Water. I'm not gonna lie, that whatever that voice is that he's doing, whatever the fuck that is, does not sound good. But there probably is gonna be a beef that does brew from this, because. And first off, it'll generate more interest for both artists. Gunna right now doesn't really need that. I think he's on a great roll. Young Thug and Lil Baby do need some type of interest for their music because, and I don't. Here's the thing, I didn't mind that Young Thug and Future track that came out. That was like actually a pretty decent track, but the momentum for Young Thug ain't there. It's like people just don't really care like they once did. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe we'll see when the album comes out. But yeah, this whole fallout is unfortunate, but hey, man, it happens. This is life. I don't think a lot of people are fucking with Gunna like that, at least in the music industry, but Gunna doesn't really care. He's been having success essentially on his own. I mean, Fuck You Mean was a ginormic record when he got out, and it had no features on it. It was just him. So as long as Gunna keeps the music coming like that, nobody's gonna really give a fuck about whatever he allegedly did with snitching, because some people are throwing out he's a snitch, he's that, but some people are like, nah, he didn't. Some people are like, he's not a gangster rapper, but he is. Whatever. I just think this is going to be an interesting beef, and I think Thug is going to use it to his advantage to try to get hot again, because Thug is kind of struggling. And, Gunna's going to fall for the bait. I think Gunna's going to definitely go back and forth with him. And I don't know, have we had like this type of mumble rap battle? Have we ever had a mumble rap beef? Let me think off the top of my head, man. Like a legit one. I'm talking about like a mainstream one, not like some fucking, I don't know, Slim Jesus versus I don't know who else. But regardless, I'm talking like mainstream big artists like Drake versus Kendrick, that type of level with Young Thug and Gunna. I can't think off the top of my head, man. I'm probably missing something. I know there's, but yeah, like these mumble rap, type of rappers, they don't really battle. So it's going to be interesting to see if an actual battle comes out of this. But yeah, we'll see what happens moving forward. All right, let's talk about this Drake UMG update on these lawsuits and these files and what he's basically asking UMG to provide with documents relating to Kendrick, relating to his team, relating to Dave Free, relating to Kojo be charged you double for none. The shook about what I'm going to say. So Kojo, Drake has finally served Kojo, so let's go over the article. Drake is currently suing UMG over Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us. Last month, it was reported that he had set his sights on Kojo. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. Menne Asamoah. That's his full name. The Toronto artist alleges that Asamoah played a major role in artificially inflating the success of the hit diss track. More specifically, he suspects that he allegedly coordinated secret payments on behalf of UMG executive Raymond Alvarez Smeekle. Reportedly, his team spent $75,000 trying to serve him over a dozen times, even enlisting the help of 2 private investigation firms. He had been unsuccessful until last week when his motion to subpoena him through alternative methods was granted. According to XXL, his team served Kojo by mail at 5 different addresses on August 7th. Per the outlet, Kojo must produce documents, information, or objects, or to permit inspection of premises in relation to the alleged botting tactics as part of the subpoena. Plaintiff alleges that Kojo possesses knowledge relating to UMG's use of convert tactics to promote the defamatory material, including because plaintiff believes that Kojo was involved in directing payments and or financial incentives from UMG to third parties involved in online botting for the purpose of artificially inflating the streaming numbers of the recording, the filing reads. Kojo is one of the many individuals whose Drake's team wants to testify in the case. The rapper submitted a lengthy list of potential witnesses last month, which features high-profile names that includes UMG CEO Sir Lucian Grange, former Top Dog Entertainment president Dave Free, Kendrick Lamar's manager Anthony Saleh, Interscope CEO John Janikill, and many more, which is crazy. The Interscope CEO is no longer Jimmy Iovine. That still hasn't hit my that still hasn't registered in my brain yet. But yeah, so he is Kojo be charging me double for none. The shook about what I must say. He is serving him. How do I feel about this, right? I think a lot of people have mixed feelings about what's going on with this Drake lawsuit. I voiced my opinion on my Drake versus Kendrick Lamar Who Really Won video. And I felt that if Drake can expose, if this Drake successfully exposes that there are bots being used in the streaming world, that's actually a good thing. I don't understand why anybody would be upset about that, because now you're putting the music industry and you're holding them accountable for doing illegal things. Botting is not legal. To artificially inflate things makes, one, the artists look way bigger than they are. 2, puts out a perception that it will skew people's perception of the person, because let's just say you think it's a big artist, right? It's this great artist that has these great records, blah, blah, blah. Concert-wise, and the numbers aren't there and they don't match, it'll affect, like, that it'll check out completely. It'll be like, what's going on with this guy? This guy's not, all of a sudden he's doing all these numbers, but he's not, doing any concert numbers. There's a lot of things that would affect an artist. When you artificially inflate numbers, artists also don't get those real statistics and the feedback of what their music is doing. And yeah, so now I said this before. Do artists know that their numbers being inflated? Probably not. Mind you, Kendrick Lamar doesn't have control over everything of his music. He does work with Interscope Records. He does work with UMG. Now, if UMG decides to put some money behind a Kendrick Lamar song, is that necessarily Kendrick Lamar saying that? No. Maybe Kendrick has no idea that it's happening. And Kendrick just sees his numbers and says, yeah, this is a great record that's doing really well. There's a high possibility of that. But then there's also a possibility that, yes, the artist knows once the number's inflated, is even putting money behind the numbers being inflated. That's a huge possibility as well. But, what I feel about this, honestly, if Drake exposes record labels, for inflating, for not paying artists right, for doing things behind the scenes, like, if Drake had a renewal with his contract to purposely reduce his value so they don't have to pay him as much. Imagine if they're doing that to Drake, they're definitely doing that to other artists to destroy their career or do whatever the case may be. There's a reason why Michael Jackson sued. There's a reason why Prince sued. There's a reason why certain artists sue and have issues with labels. You got to look at it from a bigger lens than just Drake versus Kendrick Lamar. Because if Drake successfully sues, it sets off a whole different precedent when it comes to record labels and how they're maneuvering behind the scenes. So That's my take on it. That's why I said in the documentary. If that ends up being the reason and it causes the industry to be more transparent, that benefits everybody, even Kendrick Lamar. But if Drake's doing it just for his own benefit and he doesn't really pursue some of the things that he's accusing, and instead he's just looking to have UMG pay him more money, then it's going to look bad. I'm going to say this is very corny of Drake, and this is, bad, and he lost his battle like by a long shot, probably the worst loss ever, because now you're suing, and then suing is like nobody's ever sued in a rap battle ever that I can think of. But yeah, continuing on, more breakdowns of this UMG update when it comes to the Drake lawsuit. Drake's legal team has filed motions demanding that Universal Music Group provide any documents that have related to allegations of domestic violence against Kendrick Lamar. Additionally, they want access to any documents involving Dave Free's relationship with him and his children. They filed the motions on Tuesday evening. Overall, the motion requests 75 document requests. For document request number 50, Drake's attorneys write from January 1st, 2014 to the present, all documents and communications relating to allegations of domestic violence, violence against women, and or forms of violence committed by Kendrick Lamar Duckworth. For number 51, they add from January 1st, 2019 to the present, all documents and communications relating to David Isaac Freely, a.k.a. Dave Free, and his relationship with Kendrick Lamar Duckworth and Kendrick Lamar Duckworth's children. The requests pertain to the discovery phase of Drake's defamation lawsuit against UMG. He is suing the company over its alleged promotion of Kendrick Lamar's track, Not Like Us. So now he's going against, the allegations that he threw of Kendrick Lamar potentially abusing women, as well as potentially Dave Free being the father of his kids, which is kind of, I don't really know. I don't really know what to think of that, man. I think this doesn't really have to do anything with the music, right? This is just being petty and trying to do whatever to try to get Kendrick Lamar's information out there and to try to make Kendrick Lamar look bad. Because Drake's perspective is, you accuse me of being a pedophile, but I'm going to accuse you of all these things, and I'm going to prove you did all these things. That's where Drake's going with this, is he wants facts in his battles, and he said that in the diss tracks. He wants facts. He doesn't want everybody running around with this false narrative that he's a pedophile and all this stuff. I don't know. I don't know what to expect of it. I don't know what to think of it right now. I really don't. I think this is too far. I think if he's going with the music type of stuff, I'm fine with that type of lawsuit. But now asking for documents of this guy abused people. Hey, if Kendrick Lamar is a domestic violence abuser, then hey, man. I look at him like Diddy then at that point. Diddy put his hands on Cassie. I don't fuck with him. Kendrick Lamar be another person I just do not fuck with. I don't rock with people putting their hands, especially a man putting his hands on a woman. Like, come on, man. You got to be better than that. I don't know. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. But continuing on, there's more that's going on with Dave Free. This includes documents of any allegations of domestic violence, violence against women, or violence in general that have been made against Kendrick Lamar. He's also requesting documents pertaining to Dave Free and his relationship with the Compton MC's kids. For those who don't recall, Drake suggested that one of Kendrick's children with his fiancee Whitney is allegedly Dave Free's on his song Family Matters. But yeah, he's basically looking into, is one of the kids Dave Free's, which is a weird thing to look into. Like, I know you're trying to back up your bars with facts, but like at a certain point, Drake, it's just too much. Relax. Like on that end of things, I don't rock with it. But here's the thing, right? With this UMG lawsuit, what I fuck with and what I agree with is trying to get the real information of record labels and what they do behind the scenes. That's what Drake is trying to do with the streaming, seeing if it's botted, seeing what's going on behind the scenes. But then when you go to like, Kendrick Lamar and if he's domestic violence, or Kendrick Lamar if his kids are actually Dave Free's, or that's a little like corny. It's going way too far, and I don't agree with that side of things. Continuing on, Drake also demands the unredacted version of Kendrick Lamar's UMG contract. So now he is, just like how you said in push-ups, dropping give me 50, talking about contracts. He is now requesting that Universal release the contracts of Kendrick Lamar, which is, it's petty, but I don't think he should be doing this either. I think this is just like the music side of things, but the like personal contracts, the kids. I guess you can kind of put this on the music side of things, but I think this is just trying to prove that his bars are real and that. So let's go over this. In a new document filed in federal court on August 12th, Drake and his legal team are seeking documents from UMG chairman and CEO Lucian Grange, also detailing months of discovery disputes with the massive music company. According to the new documents first obtained by Music Business Worldwide, Drake's legal team seeks all contracts and agreements between UMG and Kendrick Lamar, his agents, or anyone working on his behalf, including all contracts and agreements reflecting UMG's right to approve, reject, refuse to publish, edit, amend, alter, or veto the publication of Kendrick Lamar's musical works, music videos, or other content. Yeah, in a previous letter to UMG's legal counsel, Drake's team stated that the company produced a heavily redacted version of the Interscope agreement with Kendrick Lamar. The extent of UMG's redactions, which cover the vast majority of the 22-page agreement, rendered the agreement unreadable and incomprehensible. They received that version on the contract in June. Drake's lawyers argued that what they received was plainly improper and are demanding an unredacted version of the document. The full details of Lamar's contract are necessary if Drake is going to have any case going forward. His lawyers allege that UMG had the editorial power to block the release of Not Like Us and other songs written into the deal, but chose not to flex that muscle. So that's why they want the contract, to show like who has the power over Kendrick Lamar's music. I mean, come on, man. Drake knows to a certain extent labels do have the power over your music. Now, Drake, it depends on what kind of artist you are, right? If you're Taylor Swift, you can demand whatever the fuck you want. You can do whatever you want. Drake is at that level. Kendrick Lamar is at that level. But I don't know. I don't think this is a valid reason. I think Drake is just trying to put Kendrick's contract out there for people to kind of criticize and say that, let's just say Drake is right? And Kendrick doesn't own a lot of his music or is in a low percentage. And, Top owns a lot of the money, or, Universal owns a lot of money. It's a great opportunity for people to be like, oh, look, Drake was right on push-ups. And look, Kendrick Lamar doesn't own shit. And Drake's the boss. He owns everything. That's really where this is coming from. It's swaying public opinion, but hey, this is what Drake is doing right now. I don't know if people agree with all this stuff. I don't agree with all of it. But, hey, continuing on, he now drags Pusha T with the story of Adidon. How does that happen? Let's go over it. Drake's team has also requested documents pertaining to Pusha T's 2018 diss track, The Story of Adidon. Such documents would reveal why and under what circumstances UMG believes it is appropriate to censor its artist's expression, which plaintiff could evaluate alongside UMG's decision regarding Not Like Us. His attorney, Michael Gardy, writes UMG's past practice and knowledge regarding prior defamatory material it has refused to publish would be highly probative of UMG's knowledge here. Drake alleges that UMG artificially inflated the success of Kendrick Lamar's hit, blah, blah, blah. We already talked about that. They're claiming here that they knew not to publish certain stuff, like Pusha T's Story of Adidon. But you got to think, Story of Adidon samples Jay-Z's Story of OJ. So, of course, UMG can't publish that. They don't own the rights to that song, and you would have to go through clearance things and all that stuff. So, it's just dropped on, like, SoundCloud, and that's it. And that's all we got. It's not on streaming platforms. So, I don't know how that argument's going to work, but, yeah, now he's dragging Pusha T into this. It's going to be it's going to be ugly before it gets any type of pretty for if Drake plans on, going through with this stuff. And here's the crazier part. So, the UMG CEO, Lucian, Drake is also seeking the emails and texts about the release of Not Like Us. This is insane. Drake is pushing the courts to force Universal Music Group into handing over files from its CEO and chairman, Lucian Grange. He and his lawyers accuse the mogul of personally approving the release of the claims made in Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us. In the 76-page legal filing submitted on August 12, Drake's lawyers contended that Grange knowingly pushed the claims in the song, even though they were false. Grange's involvement, according to the filing, could reveal actual malice. Actual malice refers to the legal requirement needed to prove defamation. It would also mean that Grange acted with reckless disregard for the facts. Negligence or simply failing to research a claim more deeply does not prove actual malice. In a defamation case, Drake's lawyers say Grange's communications could show he knew the claims made in Not Like Us were false. UMG initially tried to prevent Grange from being included in discovery by labeling him an Apex executive. The Apex doctrine shields high-ranking executives from being deposed. depositioned during the standard discovery process. UMG later retracted that. Instead, the company now states that Grange had no meaningful involvement in the song's release. Moreover, they argued that any material from Grange would merely be duplicate info. So yeah, that's the breakdown of the Drake UMG lawsuit update. He is now dragging Kendrick Lamar's domestic violence situation. He's dragging the potential of Dave Free being the father of one of his kids. He is dragging the UMG CEO claiming that, he knew that this information was false and he still pushed, the song. And then he's also doubling down on a lot of the contractual stuff. And he's, requesting Kendrick Lamar's contracts now. And yeah, it is a whole shit show. I disagree with obviously like I said earlier, bringing someone's kids, the Dave Free thing. That's a weird thing to ask of. The Kendrick Lamar domestic violence thing. If he proves that, though, I guess that's a good thing. To know somebody's a domestic violence abuser, obviously, is a good thing, because not a good thing in terms of like it's good that he's beating the shit out of women. Not saying that. I'm saying to put someone that's doing fucked up shit in the dark to light, obviously, is a good thing, because that exposes who they are as a person, and then I won't fuck with the person anymore. So if it's true, that's a very damaging thing. So I don't know how I feel about that one. But the whole kid thing and Dave Free potentially being the father, that's very weird. The contractual thing, I guess I see where their point of view comes from with, hey, I'm trying to, make sure that, UMG has the power over his songs, or maybe they don't, and stuff like that, to see if the release of Not Like Us is actually in the hands of Kendrick or UMG. I guess I can see that. So some of this stuff makes sense. Some of it, I'm just like, I disagree with it. But it is a huge, huge lawsuit, and it's going to be really interesting to see as the months and years go on what comes out of this. Like I said, Drake can be a huge hero for the music industry, or he could be a villain, and he can be looked at as like one of hip-hop's worst artists when it comes to battles, because he sued and lost. But yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted as always. Let's get into the Billboard Hot 100. Golden is number 1 with Hunter. I don't know how to pronounce these guys' names. Ordinary, Alex Warren, number 2. The Subway, Chappelle Roan, number 3, debut. What I Want, Morgan Wallen, number 4. Daisies, Justin Bieber, number 5. Love Me Not, Rayvon Lene, number 6. Just In Case, Morgan Wallen, number 7. Your Idol, Sada Boys, number 8. Lose Control, Teddy Swims, number 9. A Bar Song, Shabuzi, number 10. Song's been on the charts for so damn long. Going down, Luther, Kendrick Lamar, SZA, number 13. BX The Plug, All the Way, number 31. 30 for 30, SZA, Kendrick Lamar, number 36. What Did I Miss is number 40 by Drake. Drake Nokia, number 42. Which one? Drake, number 48. That song is Dookie Water. That's why it's falling off the charts. Let's see. Cardi B, Outside, number 57. Tyler, the Creator, Ring, 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 number 58. Tyler, the Creator, Sugar on My Tongue, number 70. Went Legit, G Herbo, number 89. Typo, Glorilla, number 92. And Lotto, somebody debuted her, number 99. Lotto's beautiful, bro. She bad. Bad. All right. That's it for today's episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast. As always, support. I appreciate it. It means the world to me. Deezer, Spotify, Podcast, Apple, all that. Stream it, like it, support, share. I love all of you. Have an amazing night, day, whenever you listen to this, and peace.